Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. You already know what to do, no introduction needed. Shout out to all Asian Dilemmas once more. I'll leave the original link to the video in the description, but a lot of y'all are too lazy to even look at that. So, how do you know somebody's rich? How do you know what somebody has just by looking at them walk by you? You don't know. They might dress poor, but in reality, their bank account is the opposite of what they look like. Or they look rich and they're really broke. That's why I don't hang out in places like Miami, because I know most of the people don't own those Lamborghinis driving down the street. Anyway, this is more like game shows. We all know that rich men don't need to go to marriage markets, blind dates, and all that. But some of them go anyway just to pretend like they're average and they're not. Let's find out what happens to Homeboy to the audience.
In 2020, a young man stepped onto the stage of a blind date show in China, wearing a simple t-shirt and with a shy posture. No one in the audience imagined that this guy was actually the heir to a fortune of over 70 million yuan. He introduced himself with a modest smile. "I'm a physical education teacher. My salary is around 5,000 yuan per month. My parents are regular farmers. I enjoy cooking, working out, and living a simple life." Soon after, some of the lights started turning off. Quietly. As if that salary, that family background, that simplicity wasn't enough to deserve love.
This kind of reminds me of the Pop the Balloon show. As we all know, that show is trash. For those of you that live in America and know about that show, Pop the Balloon, it's mainly black people on there, but it's a lot of just low-hanging fruit. Competing against what?
The clicking of lights sounded like a chorus of "next, please," echoing through the studio. But one contestant still had her light on. Curious, she asked, "Why did you make a point of saying your parents are farmers?" He took a deep breath and answered sincerely, "Because I once had a girlfriend who broke up with me when she found out who I really was. Since then, I prefer to be upfront about where I come from."
Yeah, but you shouldn't have to tell what your parents do. That's really none of her business. He should have just kept that to himself. But then again, she wasn't into him anyway if that's a reason to break up with somebody. That's shallow as hell.
That way, if someone chooses to stay, it's for who I am, not for my money. The audience fell silent. Then she asked again, "And what's the most meaningful thing you've ever done for a girlfriend?" He smiled, nostalgic. "Once, I saved all my allowance and took a 15-hour train ride just to see the girl I liked. I took her out, treated her to good food, and after that, I spent the rest of the month eating instant noodles."
Yeah, what? So if it's a 15-hour train ride, I'm assuming this girl lives on the other side of the country, but god damn, I wouldn't have did that for nobody.
"But it was worth it. At least you seem like a guy who puts in effort," she said in a neutral tone. But not everyone saw that as a virtue.
I don't see it as a virtue because there's a guy around the corner from her that beat the brakes off of her while you coming halfway across the country to see her ass. There's guys that didn't do nothing for her and they're still beating the brakes off of her. That's what you guys got to learn about doing all this night shit for these women. There's other guys that aren't doing half the shit you doing and they still get the pounder out.
Contestant number 17 crossed her arms and said with disdain, "You only earn 5,000 a month. Your parents are from the countryside. When do you think you'll be able to buy a house? More importantly, what kind of life can you offer a woman? Look at you, wearing cheap clothes that aren't even from a proper store. Do you really think any of us would accept a man without a home?"
Ooh-wee. Shallow. They want the finished product, you guys. And it's pretty much the same way here in America. So y'all out here getting these gold visas and shit, expect the same thing. But if you could afford $5 million for a visa, then this shouldn't be a problem for you guys. Especially if you guys have businesses and everything. Because that's who that visa's for. Trump wants people of business means to come over here and give jobs to the American people. So if you're well off and you have your own home, expensive Audi, BMW, then you're set.
He replied calmly, "Maybe in a few years I'll have saved enough for a down payment. But I believe that when two people work together, everything happens faster." She laughed mockingly, her tone sharp. "A man with no house and no car? You're not qualified to get married. That's the bare minimum for a stable life. You might sound sweet, but that doesn't pay the bills. Here,
Ooh.
respect comes with money. This isn't the West, where people live in romantic delusions.
Yeah. America's a very delusional place. Ooh wee.
You're a lost cause. Her mockery was joined by others. Contestant number 5 added, "That's just the talk of a broke guy trying to sound deep. You say nice things, but you're just another poor man looking for a woman to split bills with. With 5,000 yuan, you can't even pay for a decent dinner with me. Honest."
And see, here's the thing: 5,000 yuan in American dollars, if I'm not mistaken, that's like less than $2,000. So that is poverty. But that's no reason to kick somebody down because of it. Two birds are together, flock together, right? Or at least that's what they tell us. But see, here's the thing: that's an outdated ideology. Nobody wants to build together like that no more. See, back in the day, back in the 1950s or 60s, people got married for convenience, not because of love.
Honestly, you're a joke. Just another loser who thinks cooking makes up for everything. Who here wants to stoop to that level? Contestant number 5 continued, her scorn in full display. True love. How sweet. But love doesn't pay my bills, doesn't take me on trips, doesn't buy me what I deserve. You're a dreamer with no money, thinking effort is enough. With that pathetic salary, you couldn't impress a child, let alone a woman like me.
Ooh, cold blooded. Wow, I'm even lost for words. Damn. So baby, you telling me my one bedroom apartment ain't good enough? I got a washer and dryer. I got central HVAC. That still ain't enough? Aw, man. Damn. I thought I was winning.
Give it up, you're pathetic. Even with the attacks, he kept his dignity. My parents started with nothing, and they built a family full of love.
That's what I'm saying. And I bet you all these contestants come from parents that didn't have half of the shit that they requiring for this dude to have. That's the funny part.
I believe feelings come before financial stability. But contestant number 17 wouldn't stop, her tone cold and superior. That's exactly why their lives were so hard. I'm not repeating the mistakes of past generations, struggling just to feed your cheap fantasies. I want comfort, security, and you can't offer that. Contestant number 5 chimed in, sarcasm dripping. A family full of love? What a lovely story to tell while you're working hard just to buy rice.
Wow.
With that ridiculous income, you couldn't even take me somewhere decent. You're a sad little man who thinks romance fills stomachs. Go back to your hometown and leave real women to those who can afford them. With each word, more lights turned off. One by one, the stage grew darker, like the guy was being erased in real time, until only one light remained. Contestant number 19, her eyes steady, decided to speak. You said you like cooking? He smiled. I cook almost every day. I think there's something emotional about it. If my partner likes it, great. If she doesn't know how to cook, I'll cook for her. She smiled back. I'm terrible in the kitchen, but I love good food. I've always dreamed of finding someone who cares like that. At that moment, all the lights were off, except hers.
Oh, wow. I mean, knowing how to cook as a man is sexy to most women. I noticed that. Being that I live by myself, I have to cook. You're gonna have to cook if you live on your own, and you hate places like McDonald's, Burger King, and all those fast food chains that are globally all around the world. You're gonna be at home cooking, and it's not a bad thing. You get to spice everything up your way. I try not to eat a lot of beef. I like to eat, like, when it comes to like fish, chicken, and turkey, I try to limit it to that. But if I'm out somewhere far away from home and I just have to eat out, I'm with friends, of course I'm gonna eat out. But I try to still avoid those places. I'd rather get a sandwich in a cafe or something than to deal with all the poison that we have to eat in these fast food places. So good for him.
The host then asked the classic question. Would you be willing to take his hand? She answered without hesitation. Yes. The young man walked up to her, took her hand, and thanked her with bright eyes. Thank you for truly seeing me. And then, as if it were the final plot twist in a movie, he revealed. Before we finish, I need to tell you something. I'm not just a teacher. My family owns a large company. I have over 70 million yuan in the bank.
See, y'all need to stop telling these women what y'all got in the bank. especially if y'all not exclusive. It's none of their damn business. That's why y'all be getting ridiculed and divorce raped. Because y'all be telling y'all fortunes and shit right before y'all even get in a relationship.
But I chose to hide that because I wanted to see who would stand by me without knowing what I have. The other women who had turned off their lights gasped in shock. Contestant number 17 went pale. Number 5 looked away. And the silence on stage was louder than any scream.
So a lot of people are going to be doing this now. That's just like all the skits you've seen of regular guys walking up to random girls on the streets, asking them for their number or their Instagram, social media, whatever. And then they walk around the corner to a Lamborghini after the girl rejected them. Then they walk by and see it. They're like, oh, well, yeah, they reconsider. So it's pretty much the same thing. But anyway, let me know if you enjoyed this video. This is Kyle LaVale. Don't forget to subscribe. And I'm out. Peace.